There's nothing better than a slow, cozy afternoon. Today, I'm settling in for some quiet knitting time, a little reading, and just enjoying a peaceful moment. First things first, tea. I always love having something warm to sip on while I knit, and today it's my morning muffin green tea. It's so good. Just something simple and comforting to go along with the slow afternoon. I also love to have a little savory snack, so I'm putting together some veggies, a French onion dip, and also some little crunchy veggie straws. I've got to make the space feel extra cozy, so I'm piling on some blankets, pillows, and lighting a candle. Let's go back into my office and grab the project. I'm using a reusable produce bag for this. I love using these bags for projects because it keeps everything contained. Most of the time, I love having something playing in the background while I knit to keep me company. Today, I'm watching With Love Megan on Netflix. It's just an easy show, something to follow but not too distracting so I can still enjoy the rhythm of my stitches. Today, I'm working on my secret shawl pattern. The name has not been released yet, although I really am excited to do so. It's slowly coming together stitch by stitch. This is actually my first knitted shawl, and I've been loving the process so far. I'm behind on this project, so I'm carving out this afternoon to help myself get caught up. I'm hoping to share the design with you in the next couple of weeks. I can't wait to share more details. I have so many project ideas I want to work on after finishing this shawl. I've been thinking about designing another cozy crochet piece, maybe a lightweight spring wrap, or actually I kind of want to do a sweater. I just made a crochet wrap, so I don't know. I have a couple ideas for some more wraps I want to do, but I don't know. I kind of really want to do a sweater. I also want to do a knitted one as well. I also really want to experiment with some different yarns. I've been eyeing some different blends for summer projects, and I don't know, I guess we'll just see where the wind blows me. If you have any project suggestions, let me know in the comments. I love hearing about what you guys are into making too. Because I'm working with two colors, every couple of rows I like to make sure that I untwist my yarns. This helps save me from having a giant mess later. There's just something so peaceful about this. Just sitting here, letting the yarn glide through my fingers, and settling into the repetition. Knitting is one of those things that can really slow the mind down in the best way possible. I actually learned to knit from my grandmother a very long time ago in this very room. I remember my first project being, well, it wasn't exactly a project. It was just basically yarn casted onto knitting needles, and I didn't know how to make any project. My grandma just taught me how to cast on and do the knit stitch. So I would just sit there for hours knitting. I think I picked it up pretty fast actually, but I remember I would just knit for the sake of knitting. And I remember I took that knitting home and that yarn home. It's funny because I felt like I would work on it for hours and hours, and it probably never grew much longer than about 5 inches. It was probably about 8 or 9 inches wide, I would say, and probably about 5 inches long. But I remember just being so impressed with myself when you're learning something new, and especially when you're a kid. And I probably really wouldn't have stuck with it if my grandma hadn't been so encouraging of me, or my mom hadn't been so encouraging of me to keep going and just said, oh wow, how amazing that project is. I probably wouldn't have kept going. But it's funny how certain projects and different things can bring back memories. There's some things that I've made that instantly remind me of that time in my life, and it's funny, just kind of sitting here watching this video is bringing back some of those memories. Knitting this shawl has definitely been a lesson in patience. I always forget just how much time a big project like this takes, but it's so rewarding to see it start to come together. One thing I've learned while working on this is to basically just manage my expectations for how long I can actually knit and how long my knitting gets in that allotted amount of time. So I know, because I did time myself, that I could knit about 2 inches of this project in about an hour. But an hour of knitting, that's an hour of straight knitting. That doesn't count if I have to get up in that hour or move around or I get distracted by something. It's funny because I think this is really something everyone could relate to, but when saying you're going to sit down and knit for an hour, very rarely do you probably knit for that full hour, or at least that's what I find for me. So if I say I'm going to sit down and knit for an hour, that could realistically be 30 minutes. It could be 10 minutes purely from distractions. So that's definitely a big thing that I learned. So yes, like maybe if I am saying it'll take me about 80 hours to finish this shawl, it's really more than 80 hours because you really never just sit down and just purely knit for an hour, or at least I know I don't, and this is my full-time job. After a little while, I always like to take a quick break. Stretching helps me from getting too stiff, especially during those long knitting sessions. And I love taking little beagle breaks too. Next, I took a little reading break. I love breaking up my knitting time with a good book. I got this book 2 weeks ago at the library and I've been really enjoying it. After reading for a little while, I'm ready to return back to my knitting. I love seeing my progress, even if it's just a couple inches. Slow and steady wins the race, one stitch at a time. This is definitely completely different from any other video that I've ever made, and I'm really curious to see if you like this. So if you do and you're still watching, be sure to let me know. This was really fun to do. I'm really working on being more consistent. Lately, I've been working on trying to stay consistent with my projects, stay consistent with everything. But I'm just happy to be back and happy to sit and knit for an afternoon with you. After a while, I decide to put my knitting away, tucking it back into its little home in its little project bag. I love having routines like this. It just makes the process feel more special. And back into its little bed it goes. Thank you for spending this cozy afternoon with me. I hope this brought a little bit of calm to your day. Let me know what you're working on in the comments. I'd love to hear. Bye!